Hi, this is Tracy from We Craft at Home, and today what I wanted to do was go through with you how to make some shaped cards of your own, or apertures in the card, for example. So I'm going to start off by just showing you a Decal Edge card. Start with something simple, and for that we need a square, and then you need to go to the borders and choose the Decal Edge here, which is like a lilac colour. And we're going to change both to 7.75. This one, the width is just 7.75. That is the size of an 8x8. You can resize it afterwards, it is absolutely fine. So we want 3 of these because the fold line we don't want as a Decal Edge. So duplicate and duplicate. For one, go to the angle and change it to 90 because we need one coming straight down. Now what I want you to do is go just over the edge. So just so the straight line of the box, the Decal Edge goes just over it. Now you can make sure they're in the right position if you choose these 3 and align, and then go that way and align the other way. Then you know they're in the right position. This one can come up a little bit, so if you use the arrows on your board you don't have to realign. This one can probably come down a little bit. You want it literally just over the line. Okay, and then all you do, hold them all and click weld. And there you have a Decal Edge front for your card. For an 8x8 you have to do 2 squares anyway, and to add on a tab to stick them together if that's what you want to do, you use this rectangle, spin it, so it's always better to use the angle because it does it accurately. And then you want it, let's do the width first, so again 7.75. and then we'll pull it in, because we don't need it that big, about ½ an inch, and then centre it through the middle. So it's a little bit smaller because obviously the Decal Edge we put on, but that really isn't going to matter because it's just to stick the card together. So the next thing would be to weld, but first of all let's put in the score line so we know we've got it in the right place. So follow the straight line of the card, click once, hold shift, come straight down, that's it, and double click, and then change it to a score line. Now that is in the right place, but what you've got to do now is grab the square and the rectangle, hold shift. We don't want the score line just yet. Weld that together. You see you're left with the score line in the right place, so then you grab it all and group. Now what I'd say is if you then want to put an aperture in this card, then what's going to happen is you have to ungroup it because the score line will not let you do anything because it's an open line. Right, now I've shown you that. I'm just going to go back because we don't want this for now. This is the front, so the back would probably be the bit with the extra. And if you want lines, you do inward lines around 8 or 12. I'll do 12 so that you can see it. So we'll just click offset and OK again, and that gives us 3 layers. You just keep clicking all the time, and you can see then the layers you have are decal edged the same as the card, so they will fit perfectly. They'll line up and everything. So that is how you do a decal edge shaped card. Obviously when you're adding the piece, duplicate and do it on another piece rather than losing the front piece. So this you would layer, duplicate, and then go through everything I showed you with the extra bit to stick it together. Okay, so that's that one. And then I was looking, I know a lot of you haven't got like foiling or embossing or anything like that, but I wanted to find something to show you. I'm just going to bring this up. Now this, just get it to the right size, would be perfect. If we flip it upside down, to have the big stars at the top of the card and the small stars fading down like that. You could even spread it out a bit. It would look amazing, and then just put a bit of card behind the card front, and that would look good. You just change this to cut, and it will cut instead of drawing it for foiling. But if you have not got any of the extras like foiling and embossing, then we do have different stars in here, and I was playing around. I was using that one and that one. So this one is obviously the same as this sort of star, and to get the same effect I'm doing it a little bit bigger just so that it's easier for you to see. If we start layer, duplicate, then grab them both, layer, duplicate, grab them both. I think we just grab 2. We'll have 6 across. So you've got 1, and then you go 2, 3, 4. So it's like this. So we've got them evenly spaced out, but what we're going to do, we're going to do them again and duplicate them. We're going to bring them down, make them a lot smaller, because you can see there's smaller ones coming down. You don't have to do them in a pattern, they can just be wherever you want them, like that. And then, although they've got what looks like hexagons, to be honest, rather than the actual stars, I love this one, and I think small and sitting in the middle, they might look nice. I've done them too squashed. So layer, duplicate. You don't want too many of them, so actually if we just and what we're going to do is just dot them around so they start mixing with the stars. That one looks like it needs to be there more. So we'll start mixing it with the just going to play around with it until you're happy. What I'm going to do is make these bottom ones a bit smaller, I think. So you can do a similar thing. You could even squash it up a bit more if you wanted, but you can do your own thing and then just add the square. So we'll do that again as an 8x8. Oh, that's pretty good. And you can do that, and then when it cuts it out, you can do gold behind, a dark blue card with like yellow or gold behind it. That would look pretty amazing. Or just use them if you have the foiling part of it, then that's also good to use. There was some other stuff I saw that I thought might be nice as a kind of aperture like that. There was some presents there, so you could line the presents up. As long as you change it to cut, any of the foiling or embossing, they're the only two I have. I know they do a lot more. You can change to cut and do it like that. So as you can see, there's loads, even words, I guess, if you wanted to. The frames, this might look nice cut out of a card with a greeting inside. Bit of flowers or greenery around it. So that's another idea. Let's get rid of that. So then apertures. So let's take the circle, because that seems to be a pretty popular one right now. We'll put it up to, I think 16 will be okay. Yeah. So we're going to make a ring. So because we've done inward, we know that circle is on top, which is what we need. If you subtract, you now just have the ring. You don't have anything on the inside. So if we do that, let's just do 3 rings for now. So you cross them over slightly. Oh, sorry, my mouse is really playing up. It keeps doubling. Let's try that. It might... I think it needs to be closer together. So we'll move this one in a little bit. I think one can come up a little bit. There we go, that's a bit better. So now we're like, there we go. So we've got like 3 rings together. You can do it not as thick, maybe. But if you want to cut it out of an aperture, you can't have an outside line cut or an inside line. So let's get a square. I am going, don't think this bit divides. No, it does not. So what we have to do is click on and just clear this outside line. If you want to keep one so that you can do it as an aperture, then duplicate so that you've got one with, one without, because you have to actually get rid of this line. So you click all the circles on the outside and press minus. That leaves you that. Still the inside. Now this is the difficult bit, because if you cut the inside out, that will be a whole aperture. If that's what you want, that's a great idea. If you don't want it, it will now divide. And then you can take the middle ring out, and that is what will cut out. So it's a little bit of a circle, but not much. But then you could cut this out separately, and it will sit in the middle on top, rather than actual cutout. It depends what you want. But that is the other way of doing it as well. You could also, like I said, if you have duplicated it and you've got the whole circle with the outside cut, you could cut that and put the whole thing over the top of that. But you've got the extra cut into the card as well. So that's another way. The other way is to actually do a proper aperture with, let me just get it, with a pattern inside. So I'm going to pick a diamond and I'm just going to duplicate. Let's put this over there, and with this one I'm going to bring it as a sharp diamond. So we're going to duplicate, and we'll duplicate again. So I've got 6. I'm going to take one and put it over there, and then I'm going to take them all and distribute evenly and to the top. Then I am going to duplicate again. The size is not important right now, and I'm just going to put it in the center like that. Then I'm going to get them all and duplicate that again and do another line. Make sure you line your points up. So you can see the pattern emerging now, that it's just going to be a diamond cut out of this. I'm going to do one more set. It's better not to group right now, because you can only group 3 times on these. So now I'm going to group, because that looks big enough to me. So I know it's all together. And we're just going to use the diamond and a square, so we've got the card. I'm doing square like a square card, obviously, if you're doing a different shape. So we want that again at 7 3/4, and the diamond would go in the middle. So let's just move these out the way while we figure that one out, what size we would like the diamond to be. I think that's about right, to tell you the truth. So we will center it both ways, and then we know it's bang in the middle. The diamonds I'm going to make smaller. Okay, let's do this bit first. So let's go over to it. Now what we want is to fit a diamond shape without getting a cutting knife. I've got to say, I can see one in there without being too difficult. So I think let's ungroup it. Layer, ungroup. We will pull that one out. There we go. So that seemed a bit better in the long run. So we'll group them. Display zoom to matte size. We don't need this anymore. We'll just put them in the center. So center, center. And that would be a diamond shape cut out in a lattice. And it would cut out see if I can colour it and show you what it would look like. So, let's do a nice blue. There. So you would have an aperture like that. It would cut out like that. You cannot have an outside line, which is why we didn't need this. I was just going to use this for the shape, but I saw the shape by myself, so we didn't need that. So that's as a diamond, and obviously you can do it with squares and circles and some of the really nice shapes on there, such as these. Even these. Once they'll make a pattern once you keep putting them together. Any of these weird shapes, you'd make a nice different kind of aperture. Hearts are obviously very good. Hearts with a honeycomb centre are nice, and obviously honeycomb is hexagon. Yeah, so although I haven't done a lot today, I hope that has helped you, and hopefully I will see you again next week. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.